Today we're going to be talking about the 20th James Bond film, Die Another Day, so let's get started. Hey everybody, my name is Justin. I love to watch movies. If you guys love to watch movies too, you guys are in the right spot. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming videos. Today we're going to talk about the Pierce Brosnan James Bond film, Die Another Day. Stay tuned. At the end of this video, I will be giving you guys an update on my James Bond series after James Bond No Time to Die was pushed back to November. Growing up, I watched Die Another Day constantly. This is probably one of the films I've watched the most besides Dr. No, Casino Royale, and Goldfinger. This was the first James Bond film that I think I ever saw, and I was so involved with Die Another Day that I completely forgot how ridiculous it is. James Bond attempts to locate a mole in British intelligence who betrayed him to North Korea, an Icelandic billionaire who is later revealed to be seemingly connected to a North Korean operative that he fought against in North Korea. I remember Die Another Day being so much fun with the very poppy Madonna song and her appearing in the movie, and just a really dark opening that seemed a bit different than other James Bond films. But watching this the other day for a first time in a long time, I thought this was a really long, just outlandish, bizarre, over-the-top James Bond film that honestly is an entertaining film. This is one of those James Bond movies that it's so dumb, but it's so fun to watch. Partly because I watched this a lot growing up. But a lot of the big action scenes with the hovercraft moments in the beginning and James Bond fencing against our villain, there are so many moments that are just really bizarre that just makes it for a fun watch. And of course we have Halle Berry in the movie, one of the more iconic James Bond girls. They have that iconic scene where she's coming out of the water, which has appeared in a lot of James Bond promos. But I think she does a great job starring alongside Pierce Brosnan in the film. Of course, they have a romantic scene in the film, but I think that she added a lot to the movie. She's great in her moments. I really did have fun with her in the movie. Spoiler for anybody who has not seen James Bond Die Another Day. In the beginning, we are to believe that Colonel Moon is dead after he tries to kill James Bond, after James Bond blows up some diamonds and some of his cars. But then it's later revealed that he changed his appearance to an Icelandic billionaire, Gustav Graves. And this is where the movie just becomes really, really stupid. Gustav Graves has like this ice palace that people go to. And although it leads to some fun action scenes towards the end of the movie, it's a part of the plot that just I really did not buy into. I much rather had him just faked his own death and him just come back alive and have that be it, rather than reconstruct his face into someone else and just be that. I think that was a really bizarre way to tell the story and bring back Colonel Moon from the beginning of the movie into the middle part of the film as well. After North Korea captures James Bond, he spends 14 months in prison, grows a really long beard, and I think it's one of the darker moments in the James Bond franchise. And then he's traded for Zhao, who in the beginning of the film, James Bond blew up some diamonds and has diamonds all over his face. I remember Rick Yoon from the Fast and Furious movie. He is in this movie as well. And so he kind of has a vendetta against James Bond several times throughout the film. So there's kind of that action sequence between them two as they're fighting each other. And then when James Bond travels to Havana and learns more about Zhao and Colonel Moon, like I said, that's when the film just kind of goes off the rails and just has an odd plot for it. And I feel like a lot of effort goes into it when it really didn't need to have that much effort going into the first place. If they would have the same film, minus Colonel Moon changing his appearance and having this ice palace, I think it would have been a decent James Bond film. But then you had him at the end in his big robotic suit controlling this device in space to blow up parts of the world. I thought it was a unique storyline for a James Bond movie, but it was all presented in a corny fashion that just really took you out of the film. And it's odd to me because Colonel Moon is actually one of the James Bond villains who actually gets a lot done in his big villainous plot. He's actually destroying a lot of land, and it really puts the MI6 in a weird place because they really feel that this villain could destroy part of the world, and there's that real sense of terror and urgency at the end of the film, but it's kind of quickly ruined by that big robotic suit and really over-the-top performances at the end of the film. So I'm not sure what the writers were thinking when writing this movie, because they really had a good initial setup for most of the film, but they decided to add these really bright and loud moments to kind of fill the runtime. And it took away from that decent story that could have been this James Bond movie, but it's filled with the dumb action scenes and some of the ridiculous moments to try to make our villain memorable in the James Bond franchise. But like I said, this is one of the James Bond movies that I did watch a lot growing up, so I kind of have a special place for it. It is one of the weirder Pierce Brosnan James Bond films. I do remember watching it a lot growing up, having the VHS when it came out. There was a lot of James Bond promos that I remember attending and, you know, participating in. I remember Walmart had like this little cafe, and when Die Another Day came out, they were giving away like little toys cars at their cafe. So I collected a lot of those. So I do have fond memories of checking out Die Another Day, but as an adult, it's a bizarre film. But I did have fun watching it. I did laugh at some of the action sequences. And like I said, the beginning of this movie is really dark compared to some of the other James Bond films. And it's something that we haven't really seen before. The Madonna song is catchy, but it's poorly written too. But I remember listening to a lot and singing it growing up. Overall, I enjoyed watching Die Another Day. It had a strong plot, I guess, for me, but it was quickly ruined by some of these over-the-top moments and a weird villain and some of the really bad CGI, especially at the end when he is riding the waves. It's a really bad CGI sequence. I thought it was so stupid. So now that No Time to Die has been pushed back from April to November because of the coronavirus and living in Washington State, that's all we talk about. Schools being closed, things being canceled left and right. And this was one of the more disappointing things that had happened from the coronavirus. Because I was really looking forward to seeing No Time to Die in a few weeks and watching all these James Bond movies in order. It really got me hyped to see the movie. So watching it being pushed back to November kind of puts a halt in my plans. So I just uploaded the last James Bond review after a couple days of that announcement, and I still wanted to do this one. What's going to happen with the other James Bond reviews, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and Spectre, I'm going to upload those in October when it gets closer to No Time to Die, so I can watch the James Bond movies again leading up to No Time to Die, just the Daniel Craig films, so I can get hyped again to see it. And so I will be reviewing Casino Royale in October, and then Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and Spectre, and then do my review for No Time to Die and all of the ranking videos that I have planned as well. I still will be doing, but in November time. So this will be the last time I'll talk about James Bond for a few months until October. But pretty bummed that that happened. You know, I understand, you know, they would have lost a lot of money if they would have had it in April with the coronavirus. But still a little bit disappointed to hear that news. So I'm going to go ahead and give Die Another Day a B. Thank you guys for checking out my review for Die Another Day. Stay tuned for more up-and-coming James Bond videos in October. My name is Just Watch Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.